imagine working on something that your great-grandparents started. And maybe, just maybe, your great-grandchildren might finish it.
It's kind of a wild thought, isn't it?
It really is. And that's the reality for a massive architectural project that's been going for over a century now. Today, we're doing a deep dive into that legendary building, the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona.
A basilica that's really blown past any normal timeline.
Absolutely. So you've asked us to unpack the story here. It's fascinating, it's complex. Why has this marvel taken over 100 years? We've got a pile of sources you sent over.
Right. And our job is to sift through them, pull out the key stuff, and basically give you the shortcut to understanding this incredible, really long journey.
Yeah, we'll dig into, well, everything. Personal tragedies, civil war, politics shifting all over the place, even, a global pandemic. They've all played a part.
You ready for some surprising details and maybe a few twists you weren't expecting?
Okay, so to really get a handle on this epic saga, we need to rewind, like way back. Even before Gaudi, where did this whole thing even start?
It actually kicked off with a Barcelona bookseller, a guy named Josep Maria Boccabella. He came back from a trip to the Vatican in 1872, I think?
Right.
And he was totally inspired, started a campaign, began fundraising for this big new religious building. That really set the pattern for its funding model, relying on donations way before Gaudi was involved.
And yeah, everyone thinks Gaudi straight away, but he wasn't the first architect, was he?
No, not at all. Initially, it was Francisco de Paula del Villar. He had a more standard vision, neo-Gothic, pretty traditional for the time.
And the initial cost I saw in the sources, the land was bought for just over 1,000 euros.
Well,
1,034. That puts today's property market in perspective.
Yeah, just a bit. It shows how different things were, but also maybe how grassroots it was at the start. But the real turning point, obviously, is Antoni Gaudi.
Okay, so Gaudi steps in, and I read he had this, quote, unkept appearance. People thought he was a beggar sometimes.
Apparently so. Despite that, he took over. And for him, this wasn't just another job. It became, well, his life. He poured 43 years into it, lived on site, totally immersed. His passion project, really.
Wow, 43 years. That's incredible dedication. But even with all that time, when he died, the basilica was still, only 15 to 25% finished?
Something like that, yeah. Not much, considering the decades he spent.
And his death itself, so sudden and unexpected.
This is tragic. He was, 73? Hit by a tram in 1926, just walking to confession, apparently.
Yeah.
And that just slammed the brakes on everything. It created this huge gap, losing the main visionary. Progress really stalled for over a decade after that.
So Gaudi's death casts this huge shadow, stalls things for years. But sadly for the basilica and for Spain, the problems were really just getting started.
Oh, definitely. The Spanish Civil War kicks off in 1936, an absolute disaster for the country and for the Sagrada Familia. Well, it was almost curtains for Gaudi's specific vision inside.
What happened exactly?
Anarchists broke into his old office. They smashed up his plaster models, which were crucial, because the plans weren't all on paper. They burned drawings, wrecked the crypt.
Oh, wow.
And tragically, some sources say 12 staff members, people trying to keep the project going, were killed in the chaos. Construction just stopped dead. Didn't restart until the war ended in '39.
It's amazing, though, that through all that violence and destruction inside, the actual exterior structure wasn't really damaged.
Yeah, the shell survived, which is maybe why George Orwell had such strong views when he visited.
Yes, Orwell. He visited in '38, right in the middle of the war, and he wasn't exactly a fan, was he?
Not remotely. He famously called it one of the most hideous buildings in the world.
Doesn't hold back. That's quite a statement.
He really didn't. And he had this, cynical theory about why it survived the revolution. He figured it was either because it had some artistic value, which he clearly doubted, or, and this is classic Orwell.
Go on.
He said, the anarchists showed bad taste in not blowing it up when they had the chance.
Ouch.
Yeah, that definitely shows how intense and polarized things were back then.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the war ends in '39. Spain enters the long period of Franco's dictatorship, right up to 1975. Did work pick back up then? What was Franco's take on it?
Work did sort of limp along, but Franco himself apparently showed very little interest. It wasn't really a priority for his regime.
So how did it keep going at all during those decades?
Well, this goes back to the funding. It was mainly Spain's Catholic community, ordinary people, who kept donating. That grassroots support was crucial, keeping the flame alive even when the government wasn't really bothered.
But leading the actual construction must have been tough after Gaudi.
Hugely. The sources talk about a revolving door of architects, like 4 different main guys took charge after the war up until the mid-80s.
Okay, who were they?
Let's see. Francesc de Paula Quintana started in 39, then Isidre Puig i Boada in 66, Francesc Cardinal I Blanche in 83, and Jordi Bonet I Vermengol from 85.
And did they make much headway? It was slow, really slow. It wasn't until 1976 that they hit a major milestone, finishing the bell towers on the Passion facade, the one Gaudi designed.
So having all these different architects, what did that actually mean for the project? I mean, following Gaudi's unique vision must have been incredibly hard.
That's the core issue, isn't it? It wasn't just about building, it was about interpreting Gaudi. A lot of his plans were in his head or in those models that got destroyed, so each new architect had to figure out how to continue it faithfully, but also practically.
Leading to debates, I imagine. Changes, delays.
Exactly. Debates about design choices, technical challenges, funding issues. It all contributed to the slow pace. Trying to step into Gaudi's shoes was, well, a monumental task for anyone.
Right. But despite all that, eventually Gaudi's work on the Sagrada Familia got major recognition, didn't it? UNESCO.
Yeah. In 2005, Gaudi's contribution, basically the crypt in the Nativity facade, was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
How much difference did that make, practically speaking, for a project still struggling?
It was huge, actually, more than just prestige. It boosted international tourism massively. And since ticket sales are the main funding, well, you see the connection.
Ah, okay. More visitors, more money.
Exactly. Plus, it gave the project a bit more clout, maybe helped with getting authorities to take notice after decades of sort of benign neglect.
But the challenges didn't stop. I read about this big controversy around 2007, something about a train tunnel.
Oh yeah, that caused a massive stink. The Spanish government proposed building a high-speed train tunnel directly underneath the basilica.
Underneath it? Seriously?
Yep, you can imagine the reaction. There was huge opposition, like a team of 200 people campaigned hard against it, worried about vibrations and the stability of the whole structure.
Wow, just another hurdle. So, skipping ahead a bit, things seem to formalize it more recently. Permits and official status.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. After operating for over a century without proper building permits, the government, maybe pushed by the UNESCO status and the tourist income, started insisting the Sagrada Familia Foundation get licensed and, pay its dues.
Wait, it didn't have permits all that time?
Apparently not. It was a long-standing anomaly. So UNESCO actually helped broker things. In 2017, the foundation agreed to pay $36 million over 10 years to the city for the impact of tourism and to finally regularize the permits.
Okay, so that 36 million figure I saw was for permit oversight and city contributions?
Sort of, yeah. It led to a proper 7-year building permit finally being granted, which initially set up that big target, 2026 for completion.
Right, 2026. That date kept popping up. Hugely symbolic, wasn't it? The centenary of Gaudi's death.
Exactly. It felt like, for the first time, there was a concrete, achievable finish line. It lined up perfectly. A century after the visionary died, his vision would be complete.
But then, well, the world happened.
Yeah. COVID-19, the pandemic hit hard in 2020 and 2021. Construction stopped completely for a while. 2 years of planning basically went out the window.
And the funding, given where it comes from.
Big impact. Remember, it's almost entirely funded by donations and ticket sales. Tourism collapsed globally, so the money pipeline just dried up for a significant period.
So that 2026 deadline went from looking solid to
a definite maybe, as one source put it. The pandemic really knocked the timeline off course and made the financial side much more uncertain again.
It's still incredible, that funding model. Totally reliant on visitors. Apparently 20 million people visit annually, paying around 26 euros a ticket, and private donations.
It is. It makes it unique, but also, as we saw, very exposed to shocks. And yeah, they still have that agreement to pay the city that 36 million back by 2026 too.
Despite the setbacks, have there been any recent signs of progress? Anything finished lately?
Yes, actually. Quite recently, they completed the tower dedicated to the Virgin Mary. It's topped with this huge 5-ton, 12-pointed star, the Bethlehem Star. It's now the tallest of the towers completed so far, though not the tallest overall eventually.
18 spires in total, right?
That's the plan. Though one source wryly noted this latest star is another blow to what it called the world's oldest building site.
Yeah.
Bit cheeky, but you get the point.
Huh, yeah. But good news for visitors now, right? It's open again.
Oh yes, it reopened to the public, so people can go and see this extraordinary work in progress for themselves again.
Okay, so let's recap the main reasons for this epic construction timeline. It's not just one thing, is it?
Not at all. It's this Perfect storm, really. You've got Gaudi's tragic death cutting off the singular vision early on, then the Spanish Civil War causing massive destruction and delay.
Then decades of slower progress, political indifference under Franco, that revolving door of architects trying to interpret Gaudi.
Right, plus the constant financial challenge of relying on donations and ticket sales, the permit issues, the train tunnel fight, and then bam, a global pandemic, just when the end seemed in sight.
It's an amazing story of resilience, though, and vision, but also just how messy, huge projects can get when history, culture, politics, and money all collide over such a long time.
It really underscores the sheer tenacity involved, doesn't it, across generations?
It really does.
Yeah.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We always say Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, the Sagrada Familia definitely wasn't. If it does finally get finished, will the fact that it took so long, that it was incomplete for most of its existence, actually become a core part of its identity, part of its magic?
That's interesting. Like, does the century-plus journey of building it, with all its stops and starts, teach us as much as the final building itself? About sticking with a vision, maybe, even when it seems impossible.